Shout out to everybody that's watching this. Appreciate you. Greeny, I'm joined by Greeny. This has not been super fun lately. I wasn't, honestly, I don't know what you thought coming into tonight, but I did not expect them to win with the 5 and 7 nights and the back to back. It did not make it any less painful. How are you feeling?
I mean, I hate losing to the Lakers first
Yep.
and foremost. Like that just annoyed me. They've now lost their last two. Haven't beaten them
True.
since last Christmas. So that's annoying. But it's weird because for me, it all depends on what happens tomorrow, right? Because just like the last West Coast or on Saturday, I should say.
Right. I
It's
was like,
just
we got a triple back to back. Oh no.
Yeah. It's just like the last West Coast trip. If you end that trip 3-1, that's still a successful trip. Like you did what you were supposed to do. I think anytime you go out west, it's unrealistic to think you're going to win all 4 games, especially when there's a back-to-back in that set. What's unique is the first time they did this, they won the back-to-back but lost to OKC. This time they've won the games around the back-to-back so far and lost, the 5 and 7 nights. So
Dude.
it's like a to be determined, right? If they come out and they drop another short-handed, injured loss to the Mavs to end the trip 2-2, I think you're feeling like shit. If they bounce back and win and end the trip 3-1, 6-2 in your 2 West Coast trips against, mostly all playoff teams is not the end of the world. It just depends on how they finish it because, tonight was your expected loss on a 4-game road trip. You're going to lose one of them. You just hope it's competitive, and tonight was not very competitive.
Can I just say, thank fuck they won the Clippers game because
Right. Like we would be having a much bigger conversation. Yeah. And you know what? Honestly, like if they didn't screw up the last 20 seconds against the Hawks,
I was
like the entire that's sort of what makes a loss like this more painful.
Correct.
Is the Toronto and more importantly the Atlanta, because Toronto, like, they got outshot, they got killed, fine. They got outplayed. The Atlanta loss, you like literally had the win in your hand.
Multiple times.
So it's like if that is a win, you're looking at, a 4 out of 5 game, 4 win and 5 stretch. That's the 800 ball. But because they fumbled that, then on top of the 5 and 7 nights, it's like you can't feel great because they're not playing great, but the record would look a lot better if they just, held on to the ball for 20 seconds.
Shout out the chat. Shout out. There's someone mowing my lawn. So let me know, chat, if that's really loud. I was like, what the fuck is that? Shout out the chat. Like the stream. Perfect night from Jonathan Myers. Perfect night to be blasted drunk and have no idea what's going on. I am on my second beer. I wasn't expecting it, but I was hope it is Friday at 5 p.m. It's a good time to be on your second beer.
Oh, look at you. You're in the future. Oh, it's Friday for me. Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
Not too bad. Look, if people want us to be sad, Greeny's being too jeery. Look, this is therapy.
I mean,
life
it's not
is gonna go on.
jeery. It's just like if they finish the trip 3-1, that's not a bad trip. The same way it was annoying when they blew the OKC second half, but they ended that trip 3-1. That's not a bad West Coast trip. Same thing here.
Yeah, I'm just concerned that it's accumulating right now because not only did you lose the Hawks game, but you lost in overtime. There's nothing worse in the war of attrition that is an NBA season to lose overtime games, which is why I said thank fuck they won the Clippers game, because you can't lose that game after you go to overtime, because that means you've lowered your chances of winning on the back-to-back by going to overtime.
Yeah.
But so you've got 5 and 7 nights, 2 of which go to overtime. The Jays are just playing, like Tatum played 43 minutes last night. Thank God he only played 30 tonight, and I don't know why Jalen was out there late, but like it's only one day off now before you play the Mavs, and then it's one day off before you play the Rockets, and then it eases up a tiny bit with the Bulls and the Pelicans and the Sixers.
But like, I don't think the Celtics are in no position to have, like, even as fans, I can't even say, it lightens up with the Pelicans when they were a CJ McCollum floater away from losing to the Pelicans at home.
Well,
not only that, but the Pelicans have been playing better since that win. They've won like 3 or 4 in a row, or or
Yes.
4 or 5. So it's like
Correct.
gone are the days of this is an easy part of their schedule to make up wins. I don't think. I mean, in theory, that should be how it goes. But you and I both know that's not. It's not going to be an easy stretch post West Coast trip.
No, that's why I'm concerned. Like, we've got 2 days off. No, we don't. We don't have a 2 days off.
No, it's every other day. It's every other day, pretty much for the rest of the week.
So that's why I'm concerned. Is because like, the Mavs have a tough defense. The Rockets are hellish, obviously, but at least the Bulls and the Sixers aren't good. That's for sure.
Yeah, but you know what?
But it's cumulative now. Yeah.
Same thing tonight, though. I mean, the Lakers have the 23rd ranked defense, and you couldn't score.
Yeah, I know. But
so if you're saying that is the tired legs with the entire roster, again, we keep trying to like, what's wrong with the Celtics? It really just comes down to they just don't hit shots in these games that they lose.
Oof.
Like the garbage time threes got them back up to 34%. But first through third quarter, they were hovering right over 29, 30%. Under 40% from the floor. The bench was an absolute 0 through 3 quarters.
Right.
They just didn't have enough ancillary production. The starting backcourt was a disaster. Jalen was super inefficient. Tatum only shot 12 times and shot 41%. Like, this is just, it was an up and down, aside from KP, who's like been the only consistent.
Yeah, dude.
He's been the only consistent player for about 5 weeks now since he came back. And outside of that, I mean, you just can't win when your starting backcourt has 6 points and then your entire bench rotation goes, I think I tweeted it out. It was like 5 for 26 or something crazy like that.
Yeah, well, Drew, Derek, PP, Al can finish a combined 7 for 27. And it's just like, how many games are you going to win when 4 of your top 6 or 4 of your top 7 are shooting 7 for 27? And like, I know the Jays weren't super efficient tonight, but and Tatum only didn't play the fourth quarter, but 16 points on 12 shots. He got to the line 7 times. There was a moment in this game where I was like, ooh, they held the Lakers scoreless for 4 minutes in the third quarter, and Drew missed a wide open layup.
Yep.
They botched a transition opportunity, and then the Jays missed 4 straight free throws.
That's the game,
and that was the game.
That's where those 2 missed free throws are where it tilted. You could have gotten, or I'm sorry, back to back. Yeah.
So how dare you?
I know. It's like what the fuck? It's like this is another game they missed 6 free throws. Right? It's at a time where you cut it to 8. 7,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Then you start to press, then you force another miss, another bucket. Like you're at least putting pressure on them.
Exactly. Pressure was building
to execute. Instead, you left those points on the board. You turned around on the other end and fouled. The lead was back up to 16, and that was it. Like they held the Lakers to 16 points in the third quarter and trimmed 4 points off the lead. That's so unbelievably bad. So it's like people want to say, oh, their defense wasn't there. Their effort wasn't there.
No, I thought it was.
That's not it. It's literally the same problem that we've been seeing in every one of these losses since December 7th. They just aren't shooting the basketball. It's a simple, you have to make shots that in order to win basketball games, you actually have to score. It's a crazy idea.
Yeah. I mean, and the Lakers shot 55% from 3 in the first half on 20 attempts. And that combined with Derek, Drew, Horford, and Hauser and Pritchard being, I think they were a combined 3 for 20 in the first half.
Crazy.
It's like the fact that they had a chance to even get into the game in the third quarter is impressive.
And even if you just made those 4 free throws, it's an 11-point game heading into the fourth, which is much more manageable, right? Maybe you start the fourth quarter a little bit differently, but again, then they had a 12-2 frame to open it, and they pulled the plug. So
thank God, honestly, because they were gassed, and there was a comment here from RJ Legend. The shot distribution was skewed. The bench guys and the starting guards took a lot fewer shots. I don't know about you, Derek and Drew's disappointing because he's actually been quite efficient the last 11 games coming into tonight, and he was 10 points a game on 47, 41% from 3. he was brutal tonight. But like, I don't think it's a Derek and Drew aren't touching the ball enough or getting their opportunities. Derek in particular is very hesitant right now. Like,
I mean,
he's just
their
not the same
role
confident self.
the only people whose role is dependent or like required for volume are your two best players. Everybody else, the whole way this formula works is Tatum and Brown and KP are taking off, like they're getting the volume shots.
Yeah.
They're 12 plus field goals every night, average. Like those are your three main guys. Everybody else, it's everybody else's responsibility to be efficient in their limited opportunities. It's sort of like a non-negotiable.
That's how it works.
Like Derek White, you're going to get between 8 and 10 shots a game. You need to make at least 4.5 to 5 of them. You know, like if you're only going to make 4 of them, I need 3 of those to be threes. You know, like to balance out the points per possession. Same thing with Drew. You're only going to get 7 or 8. I need you to make 4 or 5 of those if they're all going to be layups around the rim. You can't smoke 4 restricted area layups. You can't do it. Same thing with Pritchard Hauser, and especially them, because they're only getting, like, Hauser's only getting 5, 6 shots maybe. So, like, he really can't afford to have a 1 for 5, a 2 for 6, and then Pritchard was 1 for 12 or 2 for 12. Like, again, it just was a no-show from too many pieces that you rely on to be efficient and make open looks. Nobody can make a shot.
I'm trying to like pull up the like stats of like field goal percentage of guys that, you know, are more role players, but I kind of fucked it up just now. But it's like that. That's why like the Pritchards of the world, the Grayson Allens of the world, like these guys are always going to have like these higher true shooting percentages and be more efficient. Like, it's not super complicated to me right now. Is that Derek White turned into a guy that we could not believe existed essentially for the past,
Crazy.
Well, for most of last season, the playoffs, and for the first 20 games of this season. And the pendulum, it hasn't just like he's in a slump. The pendulum has swung so far back the other way that I think it's almost hard for the team to adjust to, like, you kind of had like a third star there for a little while. Yeah. And now he's not taking shots, but he's like fumbling the ball. He doesn't want to drive. Like, he's missing all of the floaters. It's not, I don't think it's that complicated. While tonight in particular, I'm saying was like, that's kind of a schedule loss to me, but broadly on why that they've been struggling.
For this stretch, that explains, like, and I don't know. And what's just so confusing about it is he has nights like the Clippers where he shoots the ball great, you know, quick trigger 3. He's making big fourth quarter threes, but what?
I couldn't believe that last night he hit the. Sorry, I was just agreeing with you. And my mouth was full of beer, but I was like, I almost couldn't believe last night he hit 2 threes in overtime. I was like, which typically is the complete opposite. I'm like, you just gave up an open shot to Derek White and the game's over.
Right,
and that it actually happened.
But you can feel that's what they're missing is like that quick release safety valve, like. I feel like more than anybody else on the team was making what I would consider like the back-breaking threes, right? Like when the Celtics truly feel overwhelming, it's when Tatum and Brown are being aggressive and Derek White is making these like, we just can't go, we can't leave anybody open type threes. He's only making those maybe, you know, 1 every 3 games during this stretch. And I think that's the stress that it puts on the Jays to overcompensate for that production. And you're seeing their efficiency take a hit, right? Like that's just Jalen's efficiency has been down. Tatum's efficiency has been down. It's just, I think the ancillary pieces being in a rut is what's putting a strain. Like, you know what Tatum, Brown, and Porzingis are going to give you, right? Like their roles are defined and are, you know, they're going to get their shots. They're going to shoot between, you know, 40 and 50%, whatever. It's the other pieces being so up and down and inconsistent that I think is really what makes this team feel like they're in this weird funk, because from game to game, I don't know if I'm going to be able to trust the starting backcourt. Like, when has that ever been a sentence that we said about this starting backcourt? It's like, because if they're not giving it to you offensively, they were at least making things happen defensively and providing resistance, causing turnovers. I didn't feel like we were getting that at all in a game like this, and we certainly didn't get it against the Clippers when everybody just feasted in the paint all night. So they just need to play better. It's like such a cop out answer, but like they just need to play better.
It is. And I think it's a compounding issue. If Derek White's going to play hesitant, if Drew, and not hit shots, and Drew's been better lately, but if he's going to, man, Drew Holiday, some nights it's just like, how are you an all-star? You're a point guard. How are you missing like very simple decisions and very simple layups at the rim? But like when he's hesitant and not taking shots, like it's a compounding issue because then the defenses start to cheat more off those guys. It creates tighter driving lanes for Jalen and Jason, more hands, more bodies.
Post, right? We saw him get stripped. You can't really play through the post as much because the spacing is all jacked because nobody is hitting open threes at the moment. So teams, like you said, are sagging off. I also feel like maybe this is just my weird brain, but I feel like early in every first quarter, we usually get some sort of Drew post-up layup or Drew left-handed floater. When he makes that shot, I feel like the Celtics as a team play great. When he smokes that early first quarter layup, I feel like we get a shooting performance. Like I don't know why that one. It's like every game is the same way. He has a mismatch left-handed layup or right-handed drive, whatever it is, somewhere in the restricted area, and if it goes in, it's always within like the first 3 or 4 shots of every game. He gets one. When he makes it, they shoot well. When he doesn't, you can say to yourself, this is going to be another one of those games where they shoot 30% from 3.
All right.
I don't know why, but just
we're going to have to start tracking that one. I mean, like, it's just simple rhythm, right? Like, he makes that first one, he starts feeling a little bit better. Maybe he makes the second one, and then that compounding issue goes the other way. It's like defenses are now a little more scared of Drew Holiday, bullying you at the rim. More help comes down, easier passes for Drew Holiday. It's just like it goes back.
You also are forcing, the Lakers or your opponent to take the ball out of bounds, and you're not, missing layups, sparking fast breaks,
dude.
So it's like your defense is beneficial from that. Like I think that's another part of this overlooked struggle is everyone says, "Oh, the threes," but like they get into these ruts
too.
And it's the twos. When they miss the bunnies that allow teams to get out in transition, and then they try to overcompensate and make it back with low percentage threes, and everything just snowballs. But really, it's like their 2-point efficiency is really the issue, not their 3-point volume.
Yeah, no, the volume of threes was solid for out tonight, but yeah, man, like, and then the whistle in the first half. I know I don't want to Lakers, Celtics, but man, I was so annoyed in the first half. The free throws ended up getting evened out later in the first half because Tatum actually went to the rim. But I was like, fucking Austin Reeves gets treated like Jimmy Butler. Meanwhile, like Tatum goes to the rim, gets like knocked to the ground, can't get a call, and then I tweeted before the game because I just remembered that Gabe Vincent plays for the Lakers. He's going to hit 6 threes. He did go 3 for 3 in the first half.
Had 4. First time all year he hit 4. So it's like, and then I looked it up. Today was their 3rd highest 3-point shooting performance when taking at least 35 threes. So it was arguably their 3rd best shooting performance of the year. And it's just like, this is like our battle and our struggle from the basketball gods this year. Like this has been what they've given them of every single night you are going to be dealing with the best production from your opponent of their season. And it's literally been every single game they play. And it's not like they're playing bad defense because they have a top 5 defense. So it's like they're going through it. And I think when you're in a rut, I think opponents, their makes feel magnified because you're not making it, right? Like early in the game when they were going back and forth trading baskets, like, the Lakers were making unsustainable threes, but you were okay with it. You could survive it because you were executing. The second you started to go cold, that's when their makes started to feel a little bit more significant. You start pressing. Now the whistle's going against you. Now you have free throw issues. So it just compounds into losing basketball.
Yeah. And we actually looked at this at the during the playback stream earlier, and like opponent 3-point shooting against the Celtics, and it's like surprisingly good for the Celtics in that they're giving up like the 5th best, like opponents are shooting the 5th worst from 3 against the Celtics. So teams on the season are shooting 36% from 3 against, 35% from 3 against the Celtics, which is 6th lowest in the NBA. Great. It's like, oh, maybe like the last 15 games it's been way worse because that's when the rut started. And it's actually it's slightly worse. They're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're like 20th. So teams are shooting 6.7% from 3 on 34.3% from 3 against the Celtics. So it's like, but that speaks to like the yo-yo of this current stretch too. It's like you're getting a game like the Warriors game where they can't hit a shot, you win by 40, or you're getting the Magic game where they also can't hit a shot. And it's hard to reconcile what's happening because while your advanced metrics and your scoring margin are going up, it's actually not resulting in more wins and less losses currently.
What's crazy?
I'm just to believe that it will even out.
Right. So it's like your record, I think, they're over their last 15, what is it? Like, let's call it like what?
It's like 8-7 over the last 16.
Just over 500, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
But your point differential is of a team that wins at like, a 60 win pay, whatever, it's a plus 10, whatever point differential. So it's a weird balance where like, winning by a lot is never a bad thing, right? Like it's not a negative that they blew teams out. The problem is you're getting
2 wins.
You can't do it for more than, even in your losses are really bad. You know what I mean? Like you're just not scoring. And then on the other end, when you're on, the team you're playing can't score. So it's like we've never really had a game recently where we shot well, the opponent shot well, and the Celtics still won. And then we've never had a game where we shot well,
the Clippers game
shot
yesterday,
well, and the Celtics lost. You know what I mean? Like it's always, especially over this last month, it's been one side is going to have the extreme, whether the Celtics can't make a shot, they win, or their opponent can't make a shot and they don't. It feels cheap to like boil it down to that.
Yesterday was much closer. But at the same time, like the Clippers shot 72% on long mid-range jump shots, which is like the 95th percentile, like long-range, mid-range jump shooting by Kevin Porter Jr., who hasn't been able to hit a shot all season long. Derek Jones Jr., who can't hit shots. And like, I understand people being like annoyed. Like if you didn't watch the Clippers game, I would understand being embarrassed and annoyed about the Celtics. But if you watched the game, I watched the Celtics play hard, play good defense, and the Clippers hit a shitload of jump shots, especially early. And then you knew from
NBA
the confidence.
NBA players are still NBA players, right? And it's like, yes, the Celtics should never be in a dogfight with a team like, without having a starter. Well, they were without 3 rotation players also, and you can also give credit to the opponent for making shots. Like, I don't know. That always bothers me. It's like, who are you to thumb your nose up on any type of win? Like, who gives a shit how it happens as long as it happens?
And I understand, like, obviously, so the Thunder, for example, like yesterday, they're in a dogfight with the Jazz, and SGA needs 54 points for them to win. Tonight, on a back-to-back, they played the Mavs. No Luka, no Derek Lively. The Mavs started Spencer Dinwiddie, and who else did they start? Someone ridiculous tonight as well. And where is it? Dallas OKC. I got to get this right because it was someone that I was like very surprised that was starting. Kessler Edwards started for the Dallas Mavericks tonight, and the Mavericks kind of beat them wire to wire. So like. And the Thunder, obviously, that's more of an outlier, little stretch for them. But like winning in the NBA is really hard. Look at Cleveland.
Cleveland is 3-3 over their last 6. Like this is what happens over the course of 82. I think the frustrating part is the Celtics haven't ripped off like a 5-gamer. Like they just need a week of wins to just like create some distance between these losses. I think and that's why the Atlanta one is so fucking
I was
annoying.
because exactly. I was literally thinking the exact same thing.
There's your separation between the Toronto loss and tonight.
Correct.
You know, you have a 5-game stretch right there where you didn't fumble away a win. And
that was the 4-game winning streak. That was the 4-game winning streak. And like it should have been a 1, 2, 3. It should have been a 6-game winning streak. Like, you just should have beat the Raptors. I understand you didn't play well enough to even be close to winning that game, but like,
I only don't consider that because again they were severely outplayed.
They played
the
like
Atlanta
garbage.
one's different because the victory was like in your hands. So it's like that's Toronto's annoying because you lost to a bad team. Atlanta's annoying because you quite literally fumbled away a win at a time when like you can't be fumbled. You know how much I care about 40-20. You know, like
dude,
it is the only thing that matters until they hit it. And of fumbling a loss like that, when you know you have a 5-7 night back-to-back road trip upcoming, is just that's what makes it so painful.
Correct. Yes, it's so funny. I think we've played this is the 3rd game. The last time I spoke to you was maybe after the Atlanta game, and it's hard to let that one go, dude. It just is because you just can't let those games go. But the 40-20, what do we need to go 9-7 now?
9-5.
Is that right?
They have 14 losses. They're 31.
9-6. 9-6.
No, you need the 40th before the 20th. So you can
that doesn't make come on. Doesn't make any sense.
The 40-20 rule is 40 wins before 20 losses. So you need 9 more wins before you have your 6th loss. So you can only lose 5 more times before you win 9.
I can't decide if I'm terrified or think that the 40-20 thing is nonsense.
It's not. I promise you.
It doesn't make any sense, though. It doesn't make any sense. Because if you go 39-20, that
NBA history, if you go 39-20, NBA history says
that's why I'm scared. That's why I'm terrified. But I'm just saying, my logical brain, which to be fair is a very small part of my brain, it doesn't compute.
I know.
Because if you're 39
makes sense.
There's 39-21, but then you go 45-21. It doesn't.
Nope.
Doesn't make any sense.
Does not matter. And it's very ridiculous. Like logically,
that's what I'm saying.
Be that way. But there's 75 years of NBA history that tells you that it's like that's just you would rather go into a playoff run having that box checked than not. 3 teams in the last 40 years have won the title in a normal 82-game season without without hitting it. So you don't say it's impossible, and hitting it does not guarantee that you win it. But every team that's won it in the last 40 years has 40 years has hit it.
We did talk about this with Spoonie, and if you are a bit confused, we've kind of talked about it in the last couple of pods. So just Google it and go to Reddit, and it's not that hard to figure out. But I don't know. Let's move on. Let's just fucking get there. The schedule, you should be able to do it. You should be able to do it, but it's slipping away.
I mean,
every loss.
You should be able to do it, but theoretically, you should have already had. You should. The annoying part is,
it should be in the bag by now.
And this is my last point on it and why it's so annoying about the Toronto and Atlanta losses. You win those games, you're looking at a 5-7 stretch to hit it as opposed to 9-5. Correct. That's such a huge. Yes. The Celtics are never going to play 2 games under 500 basketball. Is it from here on out, the level that they're playing at and have been for the last 20 years or 20 games is not a pace that will hit 9-5. That's the scary part.
Yeah. And the people are we talked about this with Spoonie. It's if you're 40-20 is not it's a good mark, but it's not a great mark. And so it's of course, most of the teams that won the title, almost all the teams that won the title hit that mark. Because if you're an elite championship team, getting to 40-20 is not that big of a deal.
Yeah, but you're only getting 3 or 4 a year that do it.
Yeah, But that also means if you don't get there, that you're not that good because it's not that high of a bar to reach, which is why most teams that fall below that don't win. So you can spin it a few different ways.
There are teams that don't hit it that make the finals and don't win.
Sure.
So that's what's significant is if the conversation is which teams this year have a legitimate chance to win the title, if they haven't hit the 40-20, NBA history says they're not going to win. You can make the finals, but you're going to lose. The Heat did it. The Mavericks just did it. The Celtics in 2022 did not hit 40-20, made the finals and lost. Like, you can go on deep runs, but you're going to lose to a team that hit 40-20.
So, Norval Green ran the numbers for us. We're going 9-5 at least. We're winning both Dallas games. We're winning against Houston, Chicago, Pelicans, Philly, Miami, New York, Spurs, Toronto, Detroit, and our losses are Cleveland, New York, and a dumb one. So Norval Green ran the numbers for us. They've been to the future.
For me, again, I don't care how they get there. Like, win 2 out of every 3 for the next however long. Like, play like shit in your losses. The only thing, like, I don't care if you make it by 1 game. Like, if you are 40-19 or whatever the fuck it is, like, just punch that ticket, and none of these struggles matter in your big picture. The reason the struggles matter is right now is because it's jeopardizing the most important box you have to check.
It's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, on one hand, it's complete nonsense, but it's like, if you don't get to 40-20, you probably weren't that good to begin with. And so that's why I didn't win the title. So just get to fucking 40-20 and prove you're good.
I would prefer to not have to worry about it. Like,
yes, exactly.
I would prefer to not have to be a statistical anomaly heading into a playoff run, right? Like, I just don't want to have to be the 4th team in the last 50 years. Like, that's an insane ask.
There's two ways to live our lives after we get past 60 games. One, every time you go to sleep, you get to be comfy and safe and know that you hit 40-20. Right. The other one is like, I think we can win the title, but we didn't hit 40-20, so we're fucked. And that's your 2 states of living until you are eliminated or you hoist the trophy. And I'd much rather live in the comfortable, safe, the Homer Simpson high in his little bed, just he's a comfy little.
Well, again,
Smiley.
Which is why, like, just 9 more wins. Like, you have 31 of them. Just give me 9 more. Like, come on.
Yeah, and like, man, tired legs. I think the Jays have been carrying a heavier load than usual lately because of the dip from specifically Derek. I would say Drew's been solid, but Derek definitely been the main dips, and then we'll get out of here. And like, just broadly, they're kind of on a crazy 3-year run. And I probably overestimated how easy repeating would be, but there's a reason why there's like a single-digit list of teams in NBA history that have repeated. And they've been to the finals and played one of the most hellish runs in NBA like history, dude. Like the Nets, Bucks, Heat, Warriors run, and then losing in the finals was just a monster run. And then the followed up with 6 games, 7 games, where you lose in the conference finals to the Heat. Then you win the title. You have some guys go to the Olympics. That 3-year stretch of basketball, I hope it's not catching up to them.
It's a lot, but at the same time, it's not like they're playing like less games between now and the playoff. Like,
I know, I'm just saying, I'm worried. I'm as the more like, I'm like, fuck. So like, there were people that were complaining about Tatum's shot diet in the chat earlier today, and I was like, he usually changes his shot profile in the playoffs to drive more and take less threes. Like, on one hand, do I want him switching to playoff mode to get to 40-20 and get us a 2 seed? Or do I want him like saving playoff mode for playoff time? It's like, I really want him going.
There's a balance between that. Like, we don't need playoff Tatum in January, but we can still expect a passable level of production from this team.
He's been very good. I'd say he's not the right.
I'm not even saying Tatum. I'm just saying the team in general. Like, I don't need them to be playing playoff intensity caliber basketball, but like, there's a couple levels below that will still win you regular season games that they're not hitting on a consistent enough basis. I think that's the balance.
Yeah, and C-Dog in the chat, like, for Tatum, obviously he didn't play in the Olympics, but like Drew and Derek played a lot in the Olympics. And I honestly don't even, we're just grasping at straws trying to figure out what's going on. And we've
It's
said
shooting,
it like,
man. They're just
I was
not
gonna say,
shooting. They're just not shooting.
And you're like your highest per volume like shooter guy, like per touch shooter, Derek White, is now not even really shooting threes. He had the Atlanta game where he shot 16 threes, but then the last couple games he didn't shoot. He just shot 3 threes again tonight. Like and it's concerning. He needs to fucking stop going on JJ Redick podcasts, even if he's not on them anymore.
And
it's like
Peyton
3 years in a row.
Peyton's been slumping too, really, since that podcast. Also, that's why I'm interested to see. They have what? Maybe like another 2 weeks until the All-Star break, right? So
13th of February, 12th of February range. So
okay, so that's probably what, 10 or 12 games?
10 games, yeah.
10 or so games. Like play 700-800 basketball over those next or whatever, like survive it. And then I think
8 games.
If you're concerned about their legs, we'll know a lot coming out of the All-Star break if it's a legs issue or if it's something else, because outside, I think you get like a week off. Or 5 days off after the season for the play-in.
8 days gap between Spurs and Sixers after the All-Star break.
Okay, but then what is it from the end of the season to the first round? Like,
I think it's like a week.
Well, you're right. So you have like your only spots for legitimate rest from here on out is All-Star break and the time off before the first round.
Well, hopefully you get like a 3 to 4 game, like if you can hold on to a 3 to 4 game lead going on the 3 seed going into the All-Star break, then you're going to be feeling pretty good. Assuming you actually win, you've got 1 win against the Knicks already. I think you play them 3 more times.
Listen, they have 2 more with Cleveland. Like, I'm not even saying if they play to their standard, if you assume that they can win both of those games against Cleveland, right? Tall task, but for the sake of the hypothetical, right? They're 6 or 7 losses behind. You only need like 4 other instances of them losing and you winning, right?
It's back to if you just win the Hawks game and you're only 5 or 4 games back. It's like
that's what I mean. But that's the thing. It's like you're 5 games back, but you have 2 head-to-head. So really you're like 3 games back because that's the gap you can't control. You can control 2 of that 5-game gap.
It is funny. Like the Knicks, like we don't even focus because we have our own shit going on. But like the fact they haven't caught, we're only 2 games up on them now after tonight. But like the fact they haven't caught us yet in this like extended stretch is more indicative of like the rest of the East. You don't have to be too worried. And it's like, I don't care necessarily about being the 2 seed. Like, I don't think that home road is that important. I actually think that they're.
Well, I'll tell you this: you can't drop lower than 3. Basically, zero teams have won the title that have not been a top 3 seed. Yes. So you can't go lower than 3.
Yes, and I think the 40-20 and like being a 4 seed, it's like it's less about like a 4 seed can't do it and a 40-20 team can't do it, and more like if you didn't hit 40-20 and you're not a top 3 seed, then you're not that good.
Right. You're not a championship caliber contender, right? Yeah. Like we wouldn't say if the Knicks don't hit 40-20 or who's the 4 seed? If the Bucks, don't hit 40-20 and are the 4 seed, I don't think anyone is going to say the Bucks are a legitimate contender. So it's like in order for you to be a legitimate contender, you have to do legitimate contender shit, and that is winning basketball games. Like at some point, you got to start stacking wins.
Yep. At some point, you've got to start stacking wins. Please, dude. Please, dude.
I really just think that's what has everybody so tense is because there hasn't been last year, they very rarely had fewer than a 2-win gap between their losses, right? Like they very rarely went loss, win, loss, win, loss, win. It was usually
loss, 64 games.
Yeah. Loss, win 2, loss, win 3, loss, win 2, they always had some sort of, 4 and 5 stretch. During this rut, you're getting every other, and that's you're a mediocre basketball team if you have mediocre results at the moment. That's
Correct.
That's the truth.
And I still think they're trending in the right direction. So I'm confident, as painful as this is, but
It's a long season, man.
At some
We
point,
literally,
yeah.
to make you feel better, we literally we lived through this last January, taking the Wolves to overtime. The next night, 5th and 7th night, got blown out on the road in Milwaukee by 40 points. Like, we literally lived this exact scenario last season. So it's like, big picture, you should still not be worried. The only thing that should have any concern for you is 40-20. That's it. That is the only focus.
We have 10 games between now and the All-Star break, and it's night on, night off. What if I handed you 6 and 4? Are you taking it?
So that would make them what? 37 and 18.
Yes.
I mean, I much prefer 7 and 3. I think 7 and 3 is as low as you can go. I really do. Who are the next 10? Read them off to me.
So you got Mavs with no Luka. Rockets
Again, but that's they're going to be double-digit favorites.
They're good though. They just beat the Thunder again. They're solid. So Kyrie's back.
Okay.
Rockets.
Okay.
Tough one.
Revenge game. Tough to beat a team twice. Okay.
Bulls at home.
Already beat them. Already beat the Celtics. Okay.
That's correct. Pelicans in New Orleans.
Playing better. Almost lost to them. Yep. Okay.
Sixers in Philly. That's a win. Wow. That's a guaranteed win.
Embiid will be back for that one.
No, he won't. No way. He's dead.
Embiid's going to be back. I'm just calling it right now. Embiid will be back for that one.
Cavs in Cleveland. Tough one.
So that's what I'm saying.
Mavs at home. Knicks on the road. Heat on the road. Spurs at home. That's why I said. So again, I'll ask you again. Would you take 6 and 4?
30. I mean, no. I'd still. I mean, I don't know. It's like
mystery box 6 and 4.
But the mystery box could be anything. It could even be 6 and 4. I mean, 6 and 4, 30. Well, all right, let me ask you this. And then they come out of the All-Star break with what?
So then they've got Sixers, Knicks, Raptors, Pistons, Cavs, Nuggets.
So you would need to go. So what what did I say? 37 and 18.
Yeah.
So you need to go 3 and 1 in your first 4 out of the All-Star break.
Oh boy, it's getting
what were those first 4?
Sixers, Knicks, Raptors, Pistons.
That's a tough. I mean,
you could go 3 and 1 there. You could go 3 and 1 there. That should be 3 and 1. That should be 4 and 0.
I mean, tell me what team I'm getting. Am I getting a team that can't hit a shot, or am I getting a team that I have come to watch for the last?
You're getting the team that spends the entire All-Star break being fucking Clockwork Orange 40-20 propaganda. Okay. That's hopefully the team.
If you tell me I get a team that plays to their standard, then 7 and 3 over that 10 should be no problem.
So you're taking mystery box.
I'm taking mystery box.
Oh man, I'm taking 6 and 4, and I'm backing us to go 3 and 1 on that Sixers, Knicks, Raptors, Pistons schedule. When you lay it out like that, I think we can do it.
I can't stress this enough. Like, they have to do it. It's like they have to do it. It's not a negotiable.
This is a good point. Missoula would fucking hate 40-20. He would hate 40-20.
I think Missoula would understand it, and he would embrace it and not be afraid of it and not discredit it just because. Let me put it this way. No one was poo-pooing 40-20 when they had no problem hitting it.
When we were 16 and 3?
Yeah. Like, it's only a problem and not real when it becomes a risk that they might not hit it. So like, let's not devalue the importance and significance of 75 years of history just because they're fucking around and playing 500 basketball. Like, you may not like it if they don't hit it, but like, I mean, it is what it is at this point. I would just rather not risk not doing it. Like, I would just rather be. It's kind of like when last year they had the 5th best point differential ever, and every team that ever did that in NBA history won. Like, I just want to be like every other team that did that, and they did, and they won. So for this, I just want to be like every other title contender, and every other title contender hits 40-20.
This is why, one, thank fuck they won the Clippers game. 2, thank fuck they won the title last year, man. Because this is hard.
Like if they had fallen short and then we're
Oh,
having
my
this
God.
type of season,
Oh,
we're
man.
having them. We all feel much different.
I feel like we're going to die.
Right.
Yeah.
Like even if they don't win the title this year, like
We got
it would be a failure. It would be awful and horrendous, and we'd all want to, go into dark places. But in that dark place, you can turn on Game 5 and watch them win a title. So
That's
it's
right.
like that still exists.
Oh, maybe that's what everybody should do instead of watching
That's
these
probably
games.
what
for
I'll
now.
do because I'm not going to sleep after that. After losing to the Lakers, like
Yeah, that's tough.
this is only the second time in the Missoula era they've lost to the Lakers.
That's why I was hopeful that maybe they could pull it or turn it around because they've typically been quite excellent against the Lakers, especially when LeBron has been playing. But Greeny, thank you. This has been a good therapy session. Hopefully everybody's feeling like 12 to 18% better than beforehand.
They're okay, but they got to pick it up. That's really the moral of the story is they have to pick it up.
I can keep saying they're trending in the right direction, but at some point they need to get there faster. Like it doesn't matter how long
you
the
have
trend
to
is.
arrive at that destination,
Yeah.
right? Like I think right now we're all sort of just still getting high on the idea of what they are. Like they need to start playing up to that standard.
Fuck. I think 21-22 vibes. I'm telling you, it's right there. It's right there.
Well, I
It's
hope
right
not
there.
because that team lost in the fucking
Well,
final.
no, but like the turnaround part. Part. Hey, man, Game 6 of the NBA Finals sounds pretty good to me right around now. But
but only if you win it in 6, not if you lose it in 6.
I know. All right, everybody, it's been a pleasure. Greeny, pleasure as always. I'm sure we'll talk to you soon. Hopefully,
One of
one's a
these
win.
times it has to be after a win.
Yeah. For sure. Everybody, appreciate you. Till next time, go Celtics.